From what I can remember, I always felt like I am not good enough. This feeling of unworthiness was paralyzing me every single day, and it affected so many aspects of my life. For example, whenever I had a relationship with a man, I tolerated so much because I felt like I deserve it, because I felt like it's kind of punishing me for being so unworthy. It was one of the things that were dragging me down, and I decided to do something about it. And today I wanted to make this video because I know how drastically it changed my life to view myself as worthy. And although I am still on this journey, I feel like I have so many useful tips for you, and that's what this video is about. Here's a beautiful infographic we're gonna be using for today, and now let's get into it. In Thailand, there was once a statue of Buddha made out of clay. For centuries, it stood in monastery, unnoticed. But one day, when the monks were moving the statue, they accidentally cracked it, and they found out that inside the huge clay statue, there is a small golden one. Historians found out that someone covered the golden statue so the invaders would not steal it, because who would steal a clay statue? And as time passed by, everyone just forgot what is inside the clay statue. And this is exactly what happens to us as well. We build those layers around our true selves, those layers that help us fit in. Like, I should get this and this job by this and this time. I should start a family when I'm 25. I should do that and I should do that. So I have a first question for you. What rules do you live by that are not aligned with who you truly are? I think that a lot of times in self-development content, it feels like you're supposed to build something new, to completely discover something that does not yet exist. However, in my opinion, self-development is about uncovering who you truly are. Who you truly are below all these layers that you build to protect yourself, to fit in, to be viewed as worthy, to be viewed as successful by other people. Somewhere in life, we accepted those goals that others set for us, but following those goals, it does not really fulfill us. And if you're focusing on the goals that someone else set for you, then guess what? Whether you're successful or unsuccessful, it truly depends on how the person who set the goal for you reviews you. It is not in your own hands. You're kind of giving them the power over you to say if you made it or if you did not. So one of the things that I found on my self-worth journey was that it's super important to set my own goals, to set what is truly important to me, to set the priorities, to find out what are my rules to live my life, and not to live by what other people's expect from me. At the beginning of my self-worth journey, I associated being worthy with success, money, fame, having big house, having car. But you know what? Self-acceptance and internal fulfillment predict well-being much more than success, money, or having a car. It's about your internal world. And don't get me wrong here, it's completely okay to have a beautiful house, to have a beautiful car. However, if you're focusing on those things and you expect that you're gonna gain the self-worth that you're seeking, it's not gonna happen. So here, I have a few recommendations what you can do. First of all, I would learn something about Ikigai from this beautiful book. I read it, super interesting, very beautiful concept. Finding Your Purpose. Another great book, and this book is about finding your dharma, basically what fulfills your soul. So for example, I really enjoy teaching, and that's exactly what popped up in the quiz that I was making in this book. In this book, you can find out from what kind of perspective you can approach life. Another very important thing is to find out what your values are. I'm gonna put the link of the quiz for finding out your values in the description box below, so you can check it out. It was very interesting. It was kind of like choosing what is more important to you, and then it was creating like a hierarchy of what values are the most important to you and the least important to you, and then it spits out 5 the most important values that you chose based on the questionnaire. And here, maybe you're gonna be super confused. What you actually want? What is your purpose? What do I enjoy? Because you never really ask yourself those questions, and neither did I. I was so confused. I didn't know what I love, what I enjoy, what I want. I spent years finding out what I really want to do, but I found it. And now when I see it, I'm so happy that I actually do something that really fulfills me rather than focusing on something that would be kind of like making me successful in someone else's eyes, and I would be unhappy. So this was more about the outer world. Now let's get into the process. You know how in some fairy tales there's the rider on the donkey, and in order to make the donkey moving, the rider is holding a carrot in front of the donkey, and the donkey just keeps moving and wants to bite into the carrot? Well, in this scenario, you are both the rider and the donkey. People who do not feel enough usually set a certain bar. And they're gonna say something like, when I'm gonna finish this, when I'm gonna reach this, then I'm gonna feel good about myself. Then I'm gonna celebrate myself. Then I'm for sure gonna feel worthy. So you set the bar for yourself. But the moment when you're gonna see that you are kind of approaching that level that you set for yourself, or you hit the level, you finish it, you don't celebrate yourself. You are not celebrating your success. You are not proud of your achievement. You just kind of like, okay, yeah, I guess it's finished. And you immediately set the bar higher. You keep associating that you're going to be worthy once you reach the bar. But every single time when you are about to reach the bar, or when you reach it for a few moments, then you immediately put it away. Just like the rider with the carrot, always putting the carrot further and further, or they moving, so the carrot is also moving and the donkey can't ever reach it. That's exactly what you're doing to yourself, and it's a pity, and I'm gonna tell you what you can do about it. Now let's be clear here. Being ambitious is great, having dreams is great, having goals is great, achieving goals is great, all of this is amazing, but you can approach achieving from the perspective of conquering milestones, not self-loathing, and that's the big difference. What would happen if you would start celebrating the milestones you achieved? Celebrating small wins, small achievements along the way was actually something that was recommended to me by my therapist, and it helped me so much. It was something I've never tried before. I always moved the bar higher, never celebrated, and all of a sudden there I was, celebrating the smallest wins. I deserved to tell myself how good I am, how good I did, and you deserve exactly the same thing. But what if it was not your best? What can you do with that? I still struggle with this sometimes. When I know that I did not do my best, but I still want to appreciate myself for the effort. I think that here the balance is super important. To be strict with yourself, but not to the point when you're destroying yourself. And to say, I did a good job. I tried my best. It didn't work out this time. I'm gonna try better next time. Because ultimately, we're gonna make mistakes along the journey. That's always gonna happen. But if you're gonna make a mistake and then just start self-hatred towards yourself, then you're gonna get into this self-hatred loop because you're gonna be making mistakes, and so many mistakes. And if every single time when you make a mistake, you're gonna be so mean to yourself, that's not gonna be serving your mental health. And eventually you're gonna feel so unmotivated and beaten. I understand this desire to be best. I am not a freaking monk. I want to win. I love being very good at things. But on the other hand, I cannot do it against my mental health, my physical health. I learned how to let myself rest, and that's something that you should focus on as well. Learning how to appreciate what you've done, appreciating the milestones, resting, taking care of your physical and mental health, taking yourself as human being self-compassionate. If you made mistakes or if you failed at some things, how can you approach failing? How can you approach mistakes? What can you learn from them? How can you make it so that you take lesson from it rather than beating yourself up for making mistakes? And one big point that I want to mention here, we live in a social media world, and what helped me a lot was to unfollow people who made me feel unworthy, who made me feel bad. If you spend a lot of time online on social media, I think that the best advice here is to create a space that you can actually enjoy and that is going to be inspiring. Obviously, it's nice to limit the social media use, but if you go on the social media for a little bit, it's nice to have a good space there. Follow people who are inspiring, who are doing what you want to do. Follow people who create the same way what you want to achieve in your creativity. So with the process, I would say that my biggest affirmation motto in this is I accept myself while I pursue my goals. And that's the mindset that is helping me so much to enjoy the present moment, to enjoy the present me, to be proud of myself. But on the other hand, not to sleep on my dreams and goals, to actually go for them. And that's the balance, to approach the growth from the point where you love yourself, when you take care of yourself, and you want to make yourself so proud and happy so that you go for the goals that you have. And that just feels so beautiful, to approach goals from the point of self-love, not to do it because you hate yourself and you want to finally feel something, to destroy that emptiness within you. And that's how it is. And now let's go into the brain, into the mindset. Mindfulness and self-compassion improve self-worth more than external success. Self-compassion was the key component when it comes to my self-worth, and it definitely deserves a separate video on this channel. However, in today's video, I'm gonna give you 3 exercises that you can try for yourself when it comes to self-compassion. Let's go. So this exercise is very commonly used. If your friend or someone who you love very dearly would be in trouble and would be experiencing something that you are experiencing, how would you treat them? How would you approach them? What would be your tone of voice? And now, how do you actually react to the thing? But when you do it, how do you react to yourself? How do you speak with yourself? What is your tone? Is it harsh? Is it loving? You have 2 different approaches that you can do when it comes to self-compassion and some difficult times or mistakes when you approach your loved one and when you approach yourself. And most likely, if you're watching this video, then speaking to the loved one is so beautiful and compassionate, and speaking to yourself is like not a very nice thing to experience. So now you want to bridge the difference between how you speak to the friend and to yourself. So what is that one step over the bridge to get from how you speak to your friend to how you speak to yourself? What is that one step that you can implement to start speaking better with yourself, to start valuing yourself more when you make mistake? What can you do there? Exercise 2, write how you feel, what you speak to yourself. And it's probably gonna be sort of triggering more or less. However, you want to find a way how to advocate for yourself. So imagine that this is one side, what you wrote, and you want to advocate on the second side. Repetition is key here. You want to convince your own mind that what you're saying, how you're shaming yourself, is not true. So by repeating and then finding the proof in your life, in your world, then you're gonna gain the strength when it comes to the advocate. Because now you see, like, I am unlovable, I am not deserving of good things, and you find the proofs automatically in your external world, and they are just confirming what you believe, and then you believe it more, and then you find more proof, and then it's like a loop, never-ending loop, and you need to get out of this loop. So you advocate for yourself. You are trying to change the belief that you now have, and then finding the proof actively in your environment. And exercise number 3 is a self-compassionate meditation. This is something that I was doing kind of on my own. I don't know if it's like a exercise that has some kind of name. However, it felt a little bit natural to me. And the way how I did this meditation was that I was watching gentle parenting content on social media. And I was watching and listening what kind of language do the parents use, how do they speak to the kids. And then when I was in the meditation, whenever something wrong happened and I had the space to kind of just sit down and take the time to process the emotions, I would speak with myself in my head as I heard the parents doing the gentle parenting. They spoke to the kids. I spoke to myself the same way. I was making myself feel safe and that it's okay what happened and that I can be emotional. I was also always like stroking my shoulder, and I was saying something like, it's okay to be angry. How do you feel? What can you do to make yourself feel better? And I was speaking myself with the gentle voice that I heard from the social media content of the gentle parenting. And this helped me so much because it kind of gave me the space to experience the emotions without shaming myself. Because the problem with shaming yourself and feeling unworthy is that you experience the emotions and then you shame yourself for feeling the emotions. So you kind of create a secondary emotions because of how you feel. So this kind of destroys the secondary emotion wave. When you feel ashamed for feeling a certain way, then you can kind of like focus on how the situation made you feel, and rather than going the way of shaming yourself and being mean to yourself, as in the exercise 1 when we explain the bridge, you slowly start walking over the bridge because now you have the space to actually focus on the emotions and how you speak to yourself, because you calm down the secondary emotions, the shame of feeling a certain way. To sum it all up, I created this beautiful thing here. I'm gonna put it across the whole screen. And no self-development video would be complete without giving you an action step, because you can listen as much as you want, but unless you do something, then everything is gonna stay the same. So I would challenge you to speak with yourself more compassionately for the next 30 days. Try to be more self-compassionate with yourself every single day. Write it down somewhere and cross it off every single day. It doesn't mean that every single day has to be a success. It means that you are consciously focusing on being more self-compassionate. Some days you're gonna slip and you're gonna be super mean to yourself. I know those days. Still, there are some days after all those years I've been focusing on that, when I'm super tired, when everything is kind of like going wrong, I am not speaking to myself nicely at some points. That can happen. It's okay. It's okay. Next day, try again. Try again, and next day try again and again and again and again, and eventually you're gonna see the improvement happening. The important thing is here that you modify the way how you speak to yourself. And the negative voice is what is dragging you down so many times. When you feel like you're unworthy and the voice just keeps saying horrible things about you. When you are more compassionate to yourself and you change the voice, how you speak to yourself, then you're gonna see that in so many moments when you're gonna have the negative thoughts about yourself, the advocate is gonna step in. Your advocate, your mind advocate, is gonna step in and defend, like, no. This is not true. I'm worthy. I deserve love. I deserve to be happy. And it's gonna take some time. But after some time, it's going to be automatic. And then, I am wishing you that moment, that first moment when it's going to happen. And you're going to be like, whoa, this is the first time it actually clicked on by itself. That makes me emotional. That was so beautiful moment for me. I remember when it happened. And I was just so like, wow, a change in mind. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, subscribe, whatever you like, and see you in the next one. Bye!